Burnout. Man, that word is everywhere, right? From office chatter to social media. But here's a thought. What if I told you that most of us are using that word wrong? Today, we're going to break down the science behind this thing and get to what it really means.
Yeah, if that question hits a little too close to home, trust me, you are not alone. That feeling of just being completely drained, like you have absolutely nothing left in the tank, it's a way more common experience than you'd think, and it's right at the heart of what we're talking about.
All right, so let's get one thing straight right out of the gate. We all do it, right? We have a rough week and we say, I'm so burnt out. But most of the time, what we're really feeling is stress. And believe me, true burnout is a whole different beast. It's way more specific. And understanding that difference, that's the first step to actually fixing the real problem.
And this is where we have to start. The World Health Organization, the WHO, is super clear on this. Burnout is not a medical condition. It's what they call an occupational phenomenon. So, in plain English, what does that mean? It means it's a direct result of chronic workplace stress that hasn't been managed well. And that little distinction, it changes the entire conversation. It suggests the problem isn't some personal weakness. The problem is with the work environment itself.
Okay, so if it's a work thing, what does it actually feel like on the inside? Well, researchers have pinpointed 3 core ingredients that make up the burnout experience. I like to think of them like the 3 legs of a stool. If one is missing, it's not really burnout. You need all 3. So let's break them down.
First up, and this one is the big one, is exhaustion. This is really the engine that drives the whole thing. And we're not just talking about being tired after a long day, you know? This is a deep, bone-deep depletion that just sticks around. It's that feeling like your emotional and physical batteries are just completely, totally empty.
So when you feel that exhausted, what happens next? Well, it leads straight into the second piece, cynicism or disengagement. And really, it's just a defense mechanism. When you're that wiped out, you can't help but start to pull away from your job, your coworkers. The excitement you might have had gets replaced with this cynical, what's the point kind of feeling. You're mentally checking out just to survive.
And that brings us to the third leg of the stool. And honestly, this one's a gut punch. It's a feeling of reduced professional efficacy. So think about it. You're exhausted, you're cynical, and now on top of all that, you start to feel like you're just not good at your job anymore. It's that awful voice in your head telling you that nothing you do makes a difference. And you can see how this becomes a vicious cycle, can't you? The less effective you feel, the more cynical you get, which makes you even more exhausted. Just a devastating downward spiral.
So what actually causes this whole mess? Where does this spiral even come from? Well, one of the best ways to understand it is a model that scientists use called the Job Demands Resources model. It sounds a little academic, I know, but it's actually a super simple and really powerful way to see what's going on.
Okay, so take a look at this. It breaks it down perfectly. Think of it like a balancing scale. On one side, you've got your job demands. We're talking about things like a crazy workload, intense pressure, emotional drain, all the things that just zap your battery and lead straight to that exhaustion we talked about. But then on the other side of the scale, you have your job resources. This is the good stuff, like having a supportive boss, being able to make your own decisions, getting useful feedback. When you don't have enough of that stuff, that's what leads directly to the cynicism and disengagement.
So here's the bottom line. Burnout isn't just about being overworked. That's a huge misconception. It's really about a fundamental mismatch, an imbalance between what the job is demanding of you and the resources you have to deal with those demands. And you know, the best part about seeing it as an imbalance? Once you see it, you can actually start to think about how to fix it.
And hey, if you want to see this misalignment in your own life, here's a really simple but kind of brilliant exercise you can do. It's called the energy audit. Just do what it says here. List out everything you did at work for the last few days. Then, go through that list and sort every single task into one of 3 buckets. Gives me energy, neutral, or drains me. And then, just look at it. Be honest with yourself. Where is most of your time really going? I promise you the results can be a real eye-opener.
All right, so we've defined the problem, we've looked at the cause, which brings us to the big question, right? What do we do about it? What actually works to fix burnout? Well, luckily for us, a lot of very smart people have been studying exactly that. So let's take a look at what the evidence says.
So, a huge study came out in 2023 that looked at tons of previous research to see what works best. And this chart kind of sums it up. A bigger negative number means it was better at reducing that feeling of exhaustion. And what you see pretty clearly is that the most effective interventions were the ones labeled combined. That means they did 2 things at once. They changed something at the organizational level, like fixing the workload,
And they help the individual, maybe with coaching or support. The big takeaway? You have to fix the broken system and support the person who's been struggling in it.
But, and this is super important to point out, there's a major catch. The same scientists who did all this work, they also said that the quality of the evidence they had to work with was, and this is their word, very low. Now hold on, that doesn't mean that this stuff doesn't work. It just means that the science on how to fix burnout is still pretty new. We're still figuring it out. We just need more and better studies to be absolutely sure what the best solutions are. It's just being honest about where we are with the research right now.
Okay, so we've gone through the what, the why, and the how. We've defined it, we've looked at the causes, we've even looked at what might fix it. So what is the one big, ultimate takeaway you should leave with today?
I think this quote just nails it. A business that consistently drains you is not designed correctly. That is not a personal failure, it is a structural issue. Let that sink in for a second. Burnout feels so personal, doesn't it? It feels like we failed, but all the evidence points in one direction. Its roots are almost always structural. It's a flashing red light that the system is broken, the way the job is designed, the culture, the workload, not the person in it. And once you really get that, it changes everything. It means the solution isn't just on you to be more resilient, it's on the organization to build a better system.
And that brings us right here to our final thought. Because if burnout is a structural problem, well then it needs structural solutions. It's as simple as that. So I want to leave you with this question to chew on. Think about your own workplace. What's one thing, one structural change, not another wellness app for you to manage, but one real change the organization could make that would totally shift your energy balance for the better? It's a big question, but it's the right one to be asking. Thanks so much for digging into this with us.